गुरुभ्यो नमः। ह्रींकारासन गर्भितानलसिकां सौः क्लीं कलां बिभ्रतीं सौवर्णां वरदारिणीं वरसुधा धौतां त्रिनेत्रोज्ज्वलां वन्दे पुस्तकपाशमङ्कुशधरां स्रग्भूषितामुज्ज्वलां त्वां गौरीं त्रिपुरां परात्परकलां श्रीचक्रसञ्चारिणीं ध्यानम् आरक्ताभां त्रिनेत्रां अरुणिमवसनां रत्नताटङ्करम्यां हस्ताम्बोजैश्च पाशाङ्कुश मदनधनुस्सायकैर्विस्फुरन्तीम् आपीनोत्तुङ्गवक्षोरुह कलशलुठत्तारहारोज्ज्वलाङ्गीम् ध्यायेदम्बोरुहस्तामरुणिमवसनाम् ईश्वरीमीश्वराणाम्। ॐ ऐं ह्रीं श्रीं ऐं क्लीं सौः ॐ नमस्त्रिपुरसुन्दरी हृदयदेवी शिरोदेवी शिखादेवी कवचदेवी नेत्रदेवी अस्त्रदेवी कामेश्वरी बगमालिनी नित्यक्लिन्ने बेरुण्डे वह्निवासिनी महावज्रेश्वरी शिवदूती त्वरिते कुलसुन्दरी नित्ये नीलपताके विजये सर्वमङ्गले ज्वालामालिनी चित्रे महानित्ये परमेश्वर परमेश्वरी मित्रेशमयी षष्ठीशमयी उड्डीशमयी चर्यानाथमयी लोपामुद्रमयी अगस्त्यमयी कालतापनमयी धर्माचार्यमयी मुक्तकेशेश्वरमयी दीपकलानाथमयी विष्णुदेवमयी प्रभाकरदेवमयी तेजोदेवमयी मनोजदेवमयी कल्याणदेवमयी वासुदेवमयी रत्नदेवमयी श्रीरामानन्दमयी अणिमासिद्धे लघिमासिद्धे महिमासिद्धे ईशित्वसिद्धे वशित्वसिद्धे प्राकाम्यसिद्धे भुक्तिसिद्धे इच्छासिद्धे प्राप्तिसिद्धे सर्वकामसिद्धे ब्राह्मी माहेश्वरी कौमारी वैष्णवी वाराही माहेन्द्री चामुण्डे महालक्ष्मी सर्वसंक्षोभिनी सर्वविद्राविणी सर्वाकर्षिणी सर्ववशङ्करी सर्वोन्मादिनी सर्वमहाङ्कुशे सर्वकेचरी सर्वबीजे सर्वयोने सर्वत्रिगण्डे त्रैलोक्यमोहनचक्रस्वामिनी प्रकटयोगिनी कामाकर्षिणी बुद्ध्याकर्षिणी अहङ्काराकर्षिणी शब्दाकर्षिणी स्पर्शाकर्षिणी रूपाकर्षिणी रसाकर्षिणी गन्धाकर्षिणी चित्ताकर्षिणी धैर्याकर्षिणी स्मृत्याकर्षिणी नामाकर्षिणी बीजाकर्षिणी आत्माकर्षिणी अमृताकर्षिणी शरीराकर्षिणी सर्वाशा परिपूरकचक्रस्वामिनी गुप्तयोगिनी अनङ्गकुसुमे अनङ्गमेखले अनङ्गमदने अनङ्गमदनातुरे अनङ्गरेखे अनङ्गवेगिनी अनङ्गाङ्कुशे अनङ्गमालिनी सर्वसंक्षोभणचक्रस्वामिनी गुप्ततरयोगिनी सर्वसंक्षोभिनी सर्वविद्राविनी सर्वाकर्षिणी सर्वाह्लादिनी सर्वसम्मोहिनी सर्वस्तंभिनी सर्वजृंभिनी सर्ववशंकरी सर्वरंजनी सर्वोन्मादिनी सर्वार्थसाधिके सर्वसंपत्तिपूरणी सर्वमंत्रमयी सर्वध्वद्वक्षयंकरी सर्वसौभाग्यदायक चक्रस्वामिनी संप्रदाय योगिनी सर्वसिद्धिप्रदे सर्वसंपत्प्रदे सर्वप्रियंकरी सर्वमंगलकारिणी सर्वकामप्रदे सर्वदुःखविमोचनी सर्वमृत्युप्रशमनी सर्वविघ्ननिवारिणी सर्वांगसुंदरी सर्वसौभाग्यदायिनी सर्वार्थसाधक चक्रस्वामिनी कुलोत्तीर्ण योगिनी सर्वज्ञे सर्वशक्ते सर्वैश्वर्यप्रदायिनी सर्वज्ञानमयी सर्वव्याधिविनाशिनी सर्वाधारस्वरूपे सर्वपापहरे सर्वानन्दमयी सर्वरक्षास्वरूपिणी सर्वेप्सिदफलप्रदे सर्वरक्षाकरचक्रस्वामिनी निगर्भयोगिनी वशिनी कामेश्वरी मोदिनी विमले अरुणे जयिनी सर्वेश्वरी कौलिनी सर्वरोगहरचक्रस्वामिनी रहस्ययोगिनी अष्टमावरणम् भानिनी चापिनी पाशिनी अंकुशिनी महाकामेश्वरी महावज्रेश्वरी महाभगमालिनी महा श्री सुंदरी सर्वसिद्धिप्रद चक्रस्वामिनी अतिरहस्य योगिनी Seventh Avarana dealt with Mananam. Mananam we saw is the deliberation, analyzing everything, pros and cons, for and against, the theory of the Brahma. Or the Brahma Bhagyam, the Mahabhagyam, the Guru has imparted to the sadhaka. Tattvam Asi. We analyze the Tat. What is Tat? What is Tvam? What is Tattvam? So the doubts get cleared only after analyzing it. The mind now is very firm because the scriptures, both scriptures in support or in against of the theory, is analyzed and the sadhaka has come to a conclusion now. What exactly that Mahabhagyam means from the scriptures, from analyzing the scriptures. He is not only analyzing the scriptures that support the Vakyam, but also which is contradictory to the Vakyam. Contradictions also, because it is only when you know the contradictions you can come to a firm conclusion. Even if there is a small doubt and you contradict that, then your conclusion cannot be firm. If your conclusion, the clarity you have to achieve, you have to analyze all sides of the Vakyam. That is what is Mananam. Mananam is just analyzing the Mahavakyam by the sadhaka and coming to a conclusion. Okay, this is what it is. Now he is firm. It is only at this stage he is ready to meditate on that. Nididhyasanam. Eighth Avarana I told is it means Nididhyasanam. So, Nididhyasanam is deep meditation on the conclusion that he has arrived at. But we have this 4, Banini, Chapini, Pasini, Ankusini. They are the weaponries of Lalitambika. The placement of these weapons, it is between the 7th and 8th Avarana. 8th Avarana is just an inverted triangle. It is on the top where the Bindu is seated. It stands aloof. There is no connection with that. That inverted triangle stands aloof. The inverted triangle point is facing us. It is always when we sit in front of the Meru or the Sri Chakram, the innermost triangle, the point should be facing us. We should be facing that. So, if, you are sitting on the western side and the eastern side, the Sri Chakra, the Mahameru is kept, then the point is facing the west. Okay? You start from there, from that point. Bhanam. And then it is, when you draw a square around that, then first we say the point that we face is A, and the right hand side point is B, and the left hand side point is C. You take it, A, B, C, the triangle, that inverted triangle is in the anti-clockwise way, A, B, C. So, Bhanam, when it is on the point where the inverted triangle is there, that point, Chapam comes between A and C. You go in the clockwise direction. Weaponries go in the clockwise direction. The triangles go in the anti-clockwise direction. That we have to be very clear. So the clockwise direction, when you go, between A and C comes the Chapam. Then on top of the triangle between B and C is Pasham. In the same way, A and B is Ankushin. So the 4 sides of the triangle, you have the 4 weaponries placed. Why these weaponries are placed at this junction? When you see how the mind of the sadhaka is almost purified now. The Panchatanmatras got purified in the 7th Avarana. Now the 8th Avarana, slowly this Ahankara is going to go. It's only when the Ahankara goes, our individual Ahankara, not the Ahankara of the Brahma, it is not that. Our individual Ahankara, when it goes only, that Ahankara is still staying with us. We are not still ego free. So what happens, the mind is almost pure. When the Tanmatras are pure, mind is pure. After that, you need a small push to go up. These 4 weaponries, when you see them, it is after Manana and before Nididhyasana. It is in between the 7th and 8th Avarana. So it is after Mananam, before you enter the 8th Avarana. Whatever residual purification that has to be done, that is done by these 4. When we know the meaning of what do they actually mean, then we will understand that the same thing what Lalita Sahasranam describes. Mano Rupa Ikshukodanda, Mano Rupa Ikshukodanda, Pancha Tanmatra Sayaka, Raga Swarupa Pashadhya, Krodakara Ankusha Ujjvala. This is the 4 description that Lalita Sahasranam gives. Mano Rupa Ikshukodanda. Ikshukodanda means in the Rupam of mind. Mano Rupam. Mano Rupa Ikshukodanda. Pancha Tanmatra Sayaka. The arrows, 5 arrows represent the Pancha Tanmatras. Pancha Tanmatra is pure, mind is pure. It's all when you go in the rivers, When the creation happens, like Mula Prakriti is there. First, we saw in the Nama Mula Prakriti, Avyakta, Vyakta, Vyakta Swarupini. First, the Ahankara gets out of Parabrahma. It gets the desire to create. When it comes, this Ahankara of the Parabrahman, I have to clarify here, which is very, very pure. Sutta Sattva Guna. Gunathidam, what is Gunathidam is Sutta Sattva. Pure. Everything is in equilibrium, balance there. And from that balance, things when they get expanded, the three gunas have different shapes. The Panchatan Madras are in different variation. It comes, the mind comes in differently. But all these things are present in unison at the time of creation. In one Prakriti, that Adi Shakti, it is present, everything is present. So here, when we are traveling towards opposite direction, Samhara Krama, we are not looking at the Srishti Kramam. So the mind of the sadhaka is purified, is slowly elevated. The Panchatanmatras, now he is in full control. Mind, he can aim the Panchatanmatras according to his will. Manorupa Ikshuvodandam. Panchatanmatra Sayaka. So both the things are under his control. Mind as well as the Panchatan. Because this Panchatanmatras only supply data to the mind. When this is pure, automatically this is also pure. So Manorupa Ikshukodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka. Ragaswarupa Pashalya. What that passion denotes is not the simple desire, the desire to be one with the Brahman. That is the only desire that Raga Swarupa Pashalya. The passion in Lalitambika's hands denote only the desire to be with her. There is no other material. The mind is so purified. Tanmatras are so purified. Now the desire is only for the above, not for the material. You shun away from everything. That is what Krodha Karam Ankusha Jvala. Krodha means hatred. Hatred for what? All the material things. Anatma Karyangal. All the material things which are not going to help you in realizing the Brahman, all the things, this Ankusham, like how an elephant goad is used to, goad the elephant, to concentrate and focus on something. Ankusham in Ambal uses whenever the mind even slips away, which he comes and pokes it with the Ankusham. So you again focus on. Ankusham means that hatred towards Krodha Karam Ankusha Jvala. This is the the focus is important. Nididhyasanam, the focus is important. That is the reason these 4 weaponries are placed before you enter into Nididhyasanam. You should know, you should focus, you should get rid of all unwanted stuff. Your Tanmatras have to be Panchatanmatras pure, mind is pure. Desire only that, then you go to that. Your desire should be only in realizing your Atman. Your desire should be only in finding the union with the Brahman. You should not get diverted by anything else. With a single-minded focus, you enter the 8th. That is when you can do Nididhyasanam. Or you should have that kind of focus to do that. Otherwise, there's no use of sitting in meditation and thinking about 100 other things other than what we are sitting for. Only when we sit in meditation, we get all the thoughts. So the purifying the thoughts, you cannot stop the thoughts. When you start purifying it, automatically the focus goes into that. That is what they say. The desire is to only to realize the Atman. And whatever that is Ankusham takes care of it. So the mind doesn't get diverted into something. The Pasham denotes the desire to realize the Atman. It is Pasham. And hatred towards all the materialistic things is Ankusham. Dhanushu, now the mind is so pure, it only wants to travel inwards. It's a very pure mind. That is only when, like, why they say Iccha. When you crush the sugar cane, you get sweet juice. It is only when you crush it, you get it. So you crush your mind, you crush everything. The sugar cane juice, that Amartham is waiting for you. Amarthanile, the state of being in the bliss. That waits for you only when you are crushed and pounded. So that is the reason Dhanushu denotes the pure mind, devoid of all kinds of impurity. And Panchabhanam, it represents a triumph over the Panchendriya, Jnanendriyas, because Jnanendriyas only are associated with the Panchatanmatras. So the Jnanendriyas. Bhavana Upanishad says, it goes, I think, with the Lalita Sahasranamam only. Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandhaha Pancha Tanmatraha. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These 5 are Pancha Tanmatras, Pancha Pushpa Bana. Okay? Manas Ikshudanuhu. Manas is the Manas. That is what Lalita Sahasranamam is. Manorupa Ikshukolanda. Vashyobhana, Bano. To aim the Banam, mind is Ikshudhanu. Ragaha, Pashaha. Desire is Pasha. Dvesho Ankushaha. Dvesho is hatred. Hatred is Ankusham. So the 4 weaponries annihilates all gunas. Annihilation means it is not completely wiping it off, bringing it into an equilibrium mode. At any point of time, there is no especially Rajas and Tamas Guna, they don't go up or come down. It is all in one single line. It is all in one single line. This graph doesn't go up and down. So the 3 gunas, we reach a state when Shakti was at the time of creation. This is 8th Avarana. You reach the state where Shakti was at the time of the creation of this world, where all the gunas were in equilibrium, tanmatras were purified. There is absence of mind there because intellect is there, ego is the Parabrahma, Parahamta, Parabrahmatma, the ego of the Parabrahma. Ambal is called Parahamta, Parabrahmat, Ahankara Rupam. She is the Ahankara Rupam of the Parabrahman. That is why she is called Parahamta. Ahamta, Aham. Ahamta means Ahankara. The I consciousness of the Parabrahman is called Parahamta. So, once we get out of the 7th Avarana, we don't have any doubts about what we have learned, what we have analyzed. The clarity is at its best. It is doubtless knowledge we gain from Mananam. And the weaponries actually prepares the mind to get into Nididhyasana. The weaponries actually they are placed there to prepare ourselves, prepare the sadhaka to get into the 8th Avarana. That purification happens. That philosophy of the 8th Avaranam is Nididhyasanam. Yogini Hridayam says, Mananodhita Vijnana. Whatever the knowledge gained through Mananam. Paramatmaikya Siddhi. Because of that, your union with the Parabrahman results. Because of the knowledge gained through Mananam, because of Mananam, you gain the knowledge of Brahmatmaikya Jnanam Siddhi. Okay? Mananodhita Vijnana Paramatmaikya Siddhi. The union with the Parabrahman is result. Nididhyasana Rupam Hi Vihidam Tat Upasanam. So the 8th Avarana is in the form of Nididhyasana. So the knowledge that doubtless knowledge that you have got it from the Mananam, you carry on, and the mind is prepared to get into the Nididhyasanam by the weaponries. You are getting into the 8th Avaranam and you are immersed in Nididhyasanam. This is, what is Nididhyasanam? Then there comes, I forgot to tell you this, the 8th Avarana Devatas. Okay? This is the innermost inverted triangle. It is called Sarvasiddhiprada chakram. The yoginis are called here Atirahasya yoginis. As we progress, the subtlety only, it is all subtle. The changes that happen is within you, it is not explicitly seen outside. So that is why Atirahasya yogini, Chakreswari is Tripuramba Chakreswari. Siddhi is Iccha Siddhi, and Mudra Shakti is Sarva Bija Mudra Shakti. There are only 3 Avarana Devatas who are like, the point of the 3 points of the triangle, inverted triangle, Mahakameshwari, Mahavajresvari, Mahabagamalini. I explained to you the philosophy of this Avarana, which is Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam results because the doubt that I don't understand the Brahma. That is what we started before we entered Mananam. We had that thing. It is so complicated. I am not able to comprehend anything. I don't understand anything. Then you sit and analyze everything. Now you have come to a stage where you know at least some kind of an idea about what is the Brahma. Instead of I somehow perceive something here. And then conclusively you understand that this is what this Mahavakyam means, and then you get into Nididhyasanam. So there is absolutely no doubt that I don't comprehend or I don't understand. That kind of a state is not. The mind is very firm, very clear. That is what they say. And Nididhyasanam, what happens? All the material thinking, all the material thoughts are blocked. Only the thoughts that are going to take you further ahead towards the union with the Brahman, it only prevails. Those thoughts prevail, whereas all the thoughts connected with materialistic aspects are blocked completely. Okay. I told you that there are 3 deities in the corner. Mahakameshwari, Mahavajresvari, Mahabagamalini. We also mentioned Maha Sri Sundari. Maha Sri Sundari is mentioned. In some of the text it is not there. But the text that I have used here, because there is a reason for that, these 2 cannot be separated. Maha Sri Sundari is Maha Tripuramba Sundari. Maha Tripuramba Sundari and these 3 Avarana Devatas cannot be separated because these three Devatas are the extension of her. First, you have to understand, these three Devatas are the extension of her, the Maha Sri Sundari. Even when we do Navavaranam, when we do the 8th Avaranam, we do for the three Devatas and for her also. And then we do the Bindu Tarpana. But for Maha Tripura Sundari, also in the 8th Avarana, we do the Puja. Because this Kramam has come like this, because we have gone through the Kramam of Navavarana Puja. Because many people do Archane for this Namavali of even when they cannot do elaborate Avarana Puja, they have Sri Chakram. They do the Archane of this Namavali of Khadgamala. So they go according to that. So that means 8th Avarana, these three Devatas cannot be mentioned separately. Those who have different text, please add this name Maha Sri Sundari to that, because these cannot be separated, and I will tell you the reason why it happens. Why they cannot be separated, I will tell you now. When you sit in Nididhyasana, you are focused. You are completely in deep meditation. Deep meditation results in Samadhi. They go together. Samadhi is what the 9th Avarana denotes. Now 8th Avarana Nididhyasanam, 9th Avarana is Samadhi. But when you sit in Nididhyasanam, the imminent thing that is happening is the Samadhi. That is the reason they say, like when you do the puja for 8th Avarana, you have to include Maha Sri Sundari. Because with Nididhyasanam, Samadhi is imminent. You cannot avoid it. That is the eventuality that is happening. So, you cannot do Nididhyasanam without Samadhi. That means, with Samadhi only you can do Nididhyasanam. That is to denote that. Denote that this 8th Avarana denotes Nididhyasanam, and Samadhi comes in that. Samadhi is a part of that Nididhyasanam. So, Maha Sri Sundari, who represents Maha Tripura Sundari, who represents Samadhi state, has to be mentioned here, and she has to be done puja. Those who do the Archane for the Namavali of this Khadgamala should go only in this order and should not stop with only three Devatas. They have to mention Maha Sri Sundari also. So that is very, very important, because Samadhi is an evolution of Nididhyasana. Samadhi state is an evolution of the next one, imminent one that is going to be there, is because they further go in that Atma. This Yogini Hridayam explains further, like the pure triad, purest form of triad, that is Maya, Mana, Matrumeya. What we have seen is Matru is the sadhaka, Mana is the literature, the scriptures that you can attribute to, Mayam is the one that you are seeking for. So Mana, Matrumeya, that becomes pure, because the sadhaka is aiming to be through the scriptures, the knowledge that he has gained, he is reaching the Mayam. Okay, Matru through Manam reaching the Mayam. So the triad is at its purest form. That's why they say, I am Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. This is also one of the Mahavakya. Okay, I am Atma Brahma. That is the Nididhyasanam stage. This Atma is Brahma. And then what is Samadhi state? Aham Brahmasmi. This is the two things we have to understand the difference. This Atma is Brahma, this means that is there. When he says this Atma is Brahman, so you say there is that. There are duality is existing there. Aham Brahmasmi, then there is no duality there. That is Samadhi state. So Nididhyasanam is the first. Shravanam is Tattvamasi. See how many Vakyam, Mahavakyam we are learning here. No? Shravanam is Tattvamasi. That is the main Mahavakyam. The travel towards is Aham Brahmasmi. But in between, the Nididhyasanam, you see, I am Atma Brahma. This Atma is Brahman. It is nothing but Brahman. That is what he is meditating on. When he goes with that mindset, end of that, when he is immersed in Samadhi and when he is in the blissful state, he realizes, Aham Brahmasmi. This is the stages. These are all the stages we have to understand, right? I don't know how many will teach you this. This is not something, because you people have been following it from the beginning, and not that everyone is into some kind of understanding, some learning has been done, Purvajanma karma. Otherwise, like this, it will not be imparted. You people are very, very fortunate. I should say that. Because this is the travel of the Atma. How the transformation happens within the mind, the subtle transformation that happens. From the time he hears that, he gets that knowledge from the Guru, and the travel and the changes that happen within the mind of the sadhaka, which leads to Aham Brahmasmi. I am the Brahman. Because the blissful state, the bliss is the Brahman. The bliss and the thoughtlessness. When you are in bliss, you are just in bliss. There is no other thought in that. You don't realize even that you are in bliss. Bliss is only bliss. That is an experience. The Atma goes through that. And there is absolute thoughtlessness. So the information of the Panchatanmatras is absolutely absent. Mind is that's absolutely absent. Mind is absent. All your false notions are absent. Only bliss is there. That is when you realize, if this bliss is the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi. Right? That is. So, this still they call it as Savikalpa Samadhi. This point of Samadhi still is called a Bindu. Bindu is still a Karana Bindu. Karana Bindu that came towards creation, that emerged towards creation. Savikalpakum. Savikalpa Samadhi. Vikalpam, like, because once you are going to get out of the Samadhi, then you and me exist. No? This and that exists. You come back to this world because you have to lead a normal life. So when you get into every time, but this time you don't need to go through the process. Because of purity of your thoughts remain pure. And you cannot think of anything bad or no nonsense in the mind. It's all just purity of thought. Mind is pure. So you can, whenever you sit into meditation, you can slip into Nididhyasanam and Samadhi very easily after that. And whenever you want, at will, you can enter into Samadhi and enjoy the bliss. But you are getting back. It is like from Sushupti, you are waking up and coming back. This is also a stage like that. So there is a stage beyond that is what is Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where there is absolutely, it is gone. You are only in that state. You don't come back here. There is no coming back to the worldly life. You stay only there. People like great saints like Maha. Not Even our Ramana Maharishi, take our Ramana Maharishi. Don't go very far to Himalayas. Tripuramba is right here. No? Tripuramba is right here. He's the Brahman, he is the Shivam. You don't need to travel that far. We have got Seshadri Swami here. There are how many Mahans in this great Bhumi?
Those who take Jivanta Samadhi are also in the
Yes. Yes. Why we are all rushing to Mantralaya all the time? He is always in that state of bliss. So you imbibe that little bit of that experience, a droplet of it when you go there, visit there, sit in their presence, how much they transfer their energy to us. Everyone, everybody. We are naming few. There are many named people who are not great saints. This Bharata Bhumi has seen so many great saints. Shankara Bhagavad. So there are few we have witnessed. We were so fortunate to witness quite a few of them. Right? Sadashiva Brahmendra. My Paramaguru Nathar was there, no? Swami Prakashavadutta Swami. They were all in that state of, they never got down from that. At least Swami's Guru Shantananda Swami had to come out because he had to hear people saying, or Brahmacharya had to come down. Though they were in mental state, they were always there. They have to come into the world for the sake of us. For the sake of us, they have to come into the world and hear your problems, miseries, and have to tell some kind of a remedy to you. So you go out. You don't need to tell them anything. You be in their presence is enough for us to get that energy and go. There are great saints. They are born in that world. Who always stay. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Nothing affects them. Whatever that happens around them doesn't affect them. They go into that state. That is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. But there are people who take only up to Savikalpa Samadhi for the sake of the welfare of the world, more than anything else, because they are doing a lot of balancing act here. No? Their presence itself is balance. So, the pure triad is Nidhi, that is Samadhi, Savikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is the absence of triad. There is no you and I there, no Mana Matrumeya there. It is not even in pure form, it is absolutely absent. Its absence of the triad is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. So Nididhyasanam, Yogini Hridayam says, it should be a continuous effort of the sadhaka. It says gives an example, like when you take a tree branch and bend it. As long as you keep it bending, it will be curved. The moment you take your hands off, it will go back to its original position. But keep bending the stick continuously, time to time, in between, whenever you get time. At some point of the time, the stick stays like that. The stick stays like a curved piece with practice. When you keep doing it again and again and again over months, after a few months you see that it never goes back. It stays curved. In the same way, he says Nididhyasanam is a continuous effort from the sadhaka. He has to keep doing it. He has to make use of having traveled this far, not leave it. As long as he is in Nididhyasanam, he will be in Samadhi state. His mind will be pure and thoughtlessness will be there. So he has to be in Nididhyasanam as many times as possible, as frequent as possible. So he stays like that. Jnana Vasishtam. I will first read the verse. and then Jnana Vasishtam. Vasana Kshaya Vijnana Mano Nasha. Three things. Vasana Kshaya Vijnana Mano Nasha Mahamate Samakalam Chirabhyastha Bhavanti Phaladayime. Bhavanti Phaladayime. Vasana Kshayam Mano Nasham Jnanam. Mano Nasha Vijnanam means Tattva Jnanam. Vasana Kshaya Vijnana Mano Nasha. Vasana Kshayam is the destruction of all false notions. Mano Nasam is the destruction of mind itself. Tattva Jnanam is the knowledge. Knowledge about the Atman. He says, Samakalam Chirabhyastha. These three things should happen at the same time in the sadhaka. Why he says only when the destruction of the mind happens, materializes, Vasana Kshayam will disappear. Vasana Kshayam, the destruction of Vasana, false notions, happen only with the destruction of mind. Till the mind is destroyed, knowledge of the Brahman doesn't happen to him. Vasana Kshayam, the destruction of all the false notion happen only when the destruction of mind materializes. Only when the mind is destroyed, knowledge of the Brahman can be acquired. Only with the knowledge of the Brahman, all the false notions disappear. That is what Samakali Chirabhyastha. That is why he is telling. It has to happen all at one time. I will acquire knowledge one time, I will destroy notions. No. All these things happen at one time because one depends on the another. One depends on another. So these things had to happen for the destruction of all false notion, the destruction of mind. With the destruction of false notions, destruction of mind materializes, or only when the destruction of mind materializes, false notions disappear. Mind disappears, then you acquire knowledge. Only when you acquire knowledge, again all notions, false notions get destruction. Destruction of all false notions happen only when you acquire knowledge. Knowledge happens only in the absence of mind. These three are interconnected. So these three things had to happen. You have to make it work together. Understand that Nididhyasana is not so easy. You have to make it work together. When this work together, at that point you enjoy the bliss. Multitasking, yes. The peace and the bliss and the happiness that you enjoy. At the time when all these three happen, something that cannot be described because it is called aparoksha knowledge. That is the perceived knowledge. That is what the Samadhi state, that is what his Bindu is. So these three things are important for the realization. Another three things they say. We don't stop with one. Vairagyam Ubhadi Bodham. Vairagyam, very firm freedom from all worldly desire, vairagya. You give away worldly desire, you don't even look at it again. Okay? Upadhi means desisting sensual enjoyment. Upadhi. Fourth, the upadhi. Virtuous thoughts. And bodham is, awakening or knowledge. Buddha. You comes from Buddha. Bodham, the one who is an awakened soul. That's why he is called Buddha. Gautama Buddha is called Buddha because he is an awakened soul. So, awakening is bodham. So, these three are important for the realization. These three are also important. Now, they don't stop with only one, that first three. These three are also important. Sarvasiddhiprada chakram. The only Siddhi or Sarva Siddhi can be explained as only moksha, which is the union with the Brahman. That is called the only Siddhi. So this Avarana gives that. Because straight next one is Samadhi only, So this Avarana gives that. Jiva Brahma Aikyam. Atirahasya Yogini. As I told you, the transformation that happened within the sadhaka gets subtler and subtler. So it's called Atirahasya. Rahasya was the seventh Avarana. It is still subtler than the previous Avarana. So it is Atirahasya Yogini. Tripuramba Chakreswari. This state is beyond the three states. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Shariram. It is called a Turiya state. Fourth. Turiya means fourth. This is Suddha Sattva state where the gunas are at equilibrium. Beyond all the gunas. That is the reason the Chakreswari, who is the Chit-Shakti, which is the Chakreswari of the 8th Avarana, is called Tripuramba Chakreswari. Tripuramba. Because she is beyond all these three states. Turiya. She is in the state of Turiya. They have explained Iccha, Siddhi and Sarva Bija Mudra Shakti together. Before the creation of the cosmos, I told you that there is this Ahankara Rupam of Shakti Swarupam that emerged from the Brahman. That is the seed of the end. Bija means seed. Sarva Bija means seed of everything. The Shakti that emerged from the Brahman before the creation, which actually created everything, which is the entire cosmos is the expansion of her one atom. You can call it as an atom or cell from which everything expands. The entire cosmos is the expansion of her. So she is the seed of the creation. That is the reason the Mudra Shakti here is called Sarva Bija Mudra Shakti. Iccha means that creation happens out of her desire. She desired to create. She desired to create at that time. Before the creation, she desired to create. So that is the reason Iccha Siddhi and Sarva Bija Mudra Shakti are mentioned together. Now we come to the Avarana Devatas. As I told you, the three Devatas are Mahavajresvari is in the point. It goes in the anti-clockwise direction. In the point facing downwards, and to the right, as you go anti-clockwise, in the right side you have Mahavajresvari, and the left side you have got Mahabagamalini. 3 points of the triangle. Mahakameshwari. When the creation happens, there are only 3 things that are predominant. I told you fire plays an important role in creation. Everything is fire based. Entire creation is fire based. So, Mahakameshwari, Mahavajresvari, Mahabagamalini, they represent three Shaktis: Brahma Shakti, Vaishnava Shakti, and Rudra Shakti. That is creation, sustenance, Srishti, Sthiti, Samhara. The three aspects. First, that only has to come, no? From the Adi Shakti, these three Devatas come. So, Mahakameshwari, she represents fire, because creation happens only in fire. She is also Iccha Shakti. She is the one who destroys all the false notions. Vasana Trayam. We saw the three things, no? Vasana Trayam, Manonasam, Tattvajnanam. So Vasana Trayam is what she represents. She destroys all false notions. The three things that is very important for realization. Vasana Trayam is something is bestowed by Mahakameshwari. She is the Brahmatma Shakti. She is called Brahmatma Shakti because Brahma is who creates, and the Shakti that is involved in creation is called Brahmatma Shakti. And we have to understand one thing: the entire Avaranas, the Sri Chakram, emerges from this triangle. This particular Kameshwari, from that point emerges. We call it as Navayoni Chakram. That Vashinyadi Devatas 8 and the middle triangle. 9 triangles. No, Yoni means triangles. So the 8 triangles of the 7th Avarana and the single inverted triangle of the 8th Avarana together, it is called Navayoni Chakram. Ambal is seated as Bindu in the Navayoni. That is what is the nucleus of the entire Sri Chakra. So, from Kameshwari emerges this Navayoni Chakra. That is the 7th and 8th Avarana emerge from Mahakameshwari. Mahavajresvari. I told you, she is the divine power of sustenance, Sthiti, Vishnuatma Shakti, Vishnu's. And she represents sun. Sun is the sustenance of the entire cosmos. Sun represents sustenance. That's why they say to want to get all vitamins, go to the sun. Sun sustains the entire cosmos. So, Mahavajresvari represents sun. First one represents fire because the creation happens with fire. And this one represents sun to sustain the universe. Okay? She is Jnana Shakti. You need Jnana to survive in this world. To operate everything, to go about everything, to survive, for your survival you need Jnanam. So this is Jnana Shakti. Mahavajresvari is Jnana Shakti, and here it is Manonasam. She represents Manonasam. That is destruction of mind or extinction of mind. And she is the Vishnatma Shakti, Vishnu's Shakti she is. From her emerges 3 Avaranas. That 2 Dasharam, Antardasharam, Bahidasharam, 2 Dasharam and Chadurdashara Avarana, that is 4th, 5th and 6th Avarana emerge from Mahavajresvari. Dasharadvayam Chadurdashara. The first one is Navayoni Chakram, Mahakameshwari. The second Shakti, Mahavajresvari, Dasharadvayam, that is the Antardasharam and Bahidasharam, 5th and 6th Avaranas, and the 4th Avarana is Chadurdashara. So these three Avaranas emerge from Mahavajresvari. Mahabagamalini. Mahabagamalini, she represents moon. We all say that fire is the one that destroys things, no? Huh? Fire is the one. Fire is meant for creation. Fire is meant for creation. That's why everything gets into fire, easily get burnt. The entire thing can be put into the thing and it all will come only as ashes. It will not even retain its form. Because we all emerge from fire, we all get back to fire. The concept is that. Okay? So, she represents moon. Why moon? I told you the Agni is the Pralayagni. Immediately after Pralayam, that Agni comes and the creation, destruction happens, Pralayagni. The Pralayagni also recreates again. That Agni only creates again. And then slowly it slows down. That Agni none of us can bear. So then it comes sun. Why they say moon? Here we are talking about the union with the Brahman. Everything cools down. You get frozen. No? You get frozen. Either way we get frozen. If we are at the time of Pralayam, what happens? The soul is frozen with the Karana Deham and is staying with the Brahman. The souls, they are all frozen in the frozen form, Granibhuta, condensed form. They are all staying with the Brahman like that. It's all frozen. So the moon comes in the end. Either way you are going to get frozen. Be it like, at the time of Pralayam or when you find the union also you get frozen. Because you are not going to come back. You are going to be with that all the time. When you find the Iccha. That's why this one comes for Rudratma Shakti. Rudra, which represents Rudratma Shakti. And denotes Samharam. And this is Kriya Shakti. First Iccha, Jnana, Kriya Shakti. And from her emerges Ashtadalam, Shodasadalam and the Tripuram, Chaturashram. These three Avaranas, first, second and third Avaranas emerge from her. Okay? Maha Sri Sundari. As I told you that Samadhi is inevitable in Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam leads to Savikalpa Samadhi and Maha Tripuramba Sundari. That is why she cannot be separated from the three Devatas. And so Maha Sri Sundari, she represents Aparoksha knowledge, the Jnanam, Aparoksha Jnanam, that is perceivable knowledge of the union of the Brahman and Atma. How when you light a lamp, the darkness immediately disappears. In the same way, you enter the Nididhyasanam and the Samadhi happens, then Jnanam happens. Jnanam comes when you light the lamp, the darkness disappears. In the same way, when the Samadhi happens, the Jnanam is inevitable there. So that is the reason she is always considered as a part of this Avarana. Now we'll come to the Bhavana Upanishad. Few minutes. Bhavana Upanishad. Avyakta Mahattvam Ahankara iti Kameshwari Vajreshwari Bahamalinyo Antartrikonagha Devataha. We are going back to Mula Prakriti aspect. From the Brahman, when the Shakti comes, it is formless. Avyakta. Avyakta means not a defined form. The first thing that emerges from the Brahman it is formless, not with a defined form. You should not say formless, you should say it is a not defined form. That is why it is called Avyakta aspect of the Brahman. Mahat Tattvam is the expansion of the Brahman. Mahat. The entire cosmos is called Mahat. Mahat Tattvam is embedded in that Brahman for the expansion of the universe. And Ahankara, it is as I told you, it is the Ahankara Swarupam of the Brahman. 3 qualities that emerges from the Brahman before the creation happens. Avyakta, Mahat Tattva and Ahankara. Iti Kameshwari Vajresvari Mahamalinyo Antas Trikonaga Devataha. The innermost triangle where these 3 Devatas, Kameshwari, Vajresvari and Mahamalini, they represent Avyakta, Mahat Tattva and Ahankara aspect of the Brahman, which emerges before creation. The visible universe come into place when these 3 aspects of the Brahman in combination, which one we last leave is the Tanmatras. Tanmatras is the one we left now. When these 3 act with the Tanmatras, the visible universe emerges. It's the creation, how it happens. So from the Brahman, these 3 aspects, Abhyakta, the 3 qualities of the Brahman emerges. The Brahman without any qualities, Nirguna Brahman, from it emerges the 3 aspects. Abhyakta aspect, Mahat Tattva aspect and Ahankara aspect. These 3 aspects in combination with Antakarana, they say. Antakarana is here, mind is absent. So intellect and ego is only present. Intellect and ego, Buddhi and Ahankara. Mind is absent. Chit Sakti is present there, that is only is coming in this form. Mind and Ahankara, that is intellect and ego, Ahankara, and interact with Tanmatras. Then the visible world appears. Visible world emerges when these things, along with intellect and ego, interact with Tanmatras. The visible world emerges. That is why Tanmatras are always considered to be Paranchikhani. I told you this one even in the book launch. Vyatranat Swayam Bhohu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Na Antaratma. Katha Upanishad. Khani means Indriyas, Jnanendriyas. Khani actually, when you take it as a word, term, it means, Khani can mean ear or eyes. Ears or eyes. It can mean both. In general, we say Indriyas. Jnanendriyas, not any other Indriyas, Jnanendriyas. Paranchikani, the opening of these 2 are placed externally. Paranchikani, Paranchi means outside. Externally they are placed. Vyatrunaswam, the one who created, he placed these 2 things, the opening of these 2 things outwardly. Tasmat parang, that is the reason they go out, not turn inwards. Tasmat parang pashyati na antaratma. So, here they say this Tanmatras, they play a huge role. Because when we say the most eroded of all the Pancha Jnanendriyas, which can cause worst erosion, is only ears and eyes. That is why, Parama Hamsa Dvayam always is mentioned as in couple. 2. Only a couple of swans swimming in the lake of. Why they mean always couple? 1, 2. Some people say as Jivatma or Paramatma. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa gave a beautiful example of that. He said, They denote ears and eyes. The two jnanendriyas which cause the most erosion for the values, because like Hamsa, which can separate milk from water, these two, if they understand, if they realize to separate the good from the bad, then they become Paramahamsa. Only ears and eyes. Now so many things come in the WhatsApp with Photoshopped. We really don't know which is the real. No? Practically we are seeing it here. Ramakrishna told so many years ago. Paramahamsa. That's why the two Hamsas are mentioned in couple always, because they represent ears and eyes. Mouth is only last. What we talk is only last. So many times, even if we shut our mouth, we think so many things because of these two things, what they receive from outside. So, that is the reason they say Tanmatras are the most important thing for the entire creation. So, when these three principles, these three aspects interact with the Tanmatras, along with the Antakarana, then the visible universe, that what we see, emerges. So we understand how these three Devis are so important. Like when he is in bliss state, Samadhi state, his ego is not present, his mind is not present. So that is the two reasons for all our problems, ego and the mind. He is in a blissful state. So at the time of creation, we understand everything emerged from her. Now as we are going back, everything is getting back to her. It is only she who takes us to the next stage. Because it is all stages. From the Nirguna Brahman, she emerges. From her, these three Shaktis emerge. Then from these Shaktis, the entire cosmos emerge. And when the entire cosmos then when they are retrieved, like first all the cosmos go to these three Shaktis, and then the three Shaktis then get Layam, the Adi Shakti which emerged from the Brahman, and Adi Shakti goes back to the Nirguna Brahman, what she was before. So she only has to take, that is why we follow her. That is why the Shakti Upasana got very popular, because of that reason. Okay. Next week we will see. Mostly I think we will conclude next week. The final Avarana. Guru Pyo Namaha.